Is the 2026 Kia Telluride better than the 2026 Hyundai Palisade? Well, that's one of the questions I get asked very often, because many people don't understand what the difference or similarity is between the two. And even though these are two SUVs that we can consider as close cousins, today I'm going to tell you what the dealerships don't tell you. And besides that, I have a big surprise because the Kia Telluride 2027 is coming. And I have some exclusive images that you haven't seen anywhere else. Which SUV, the Palisade or Telluride, has the best interior for long trips? And what are those problems that the Hyundai Palisade and the Kia Telluride have? After you've had it for a year, I'm going to tell you about that too. Is there a difference between driving a Hyundai Palisade and a Kia Telluride? I'll cover that too, so stay tuned. Welcome. In terms of exterior design, because this is obviously one of the most important factors that will influence your decision. When choosing between a Palisade and a Kia Telluride, the Telluride features a more robust front end and a more aggressive grille. This one, in the X Pro version, has more of an off-road identity for rough and uneven terrain because that's the main theme of the X Pro version. The colors themselves, this blue color, I like it. It catches my attention. Combined with the black grille, I think it works really well. And the headlights? Let's show them here. The front headlights with LED projection lights are pretty vertical. They have, let's say, a slightly more squared-off front. Traditional SUV style. The X Pro version of the Kia Telluride adds an off-road feel with all-terrain tires. There's a slightly more aggressive look. Conversely, the 2026 Hyundai Palisade maintains a more refined and urban look, just like we saw in that video. And if you haven't seen it, I'll leave it linked as a related video. You'll find a finer chrome grille and smoother lines. The Telluride has more character, while the Palisade leans toward luxury rather than adventure. And what's the difference between the engine of a Kia Telluride and that of a Hyundai Palisade? Let's discuss this. Nothing changed until 2025. The Hyundai Palisade and Kia Telluride remained identical. In 2026, the Palisade changed with its refresh. I'll explain in a moment. Gasoline and the Telluride gasoline version share the same powertrain. We're talking about a V6 that produces 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. 8-speed automatic transmission. Both have exactly the same 8-speed automatic transmission. In this one, there's no turbo and no hybrid, but a big difference with the Hyundai Palisade is that for 2026 you do have a hybrid version available. That's a very important change. Until 2025, well, the Kia Telluride didn't have it. But watch out, there's a big surprise. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about, the new generation that's coming, for which I have exclusive images of the Kia Telluride, because there's a big change, and that's what I'll talk to you about later. So the question would be, did it get better? If you're interested in a Kia Telluride, should I wait for the 2027 model which will come out in 2026? Or should I buy a 2025 Kia Telluride, an X Pro like this one, or the 2026 model? I'm going to help you solve or clear up that doubt later on. If I'm just talking about this Kia Telluride, there's no turbo, electrification, or hybrid yet, and both offer all-wheel drive as an option. But will there be any difference in the driving, in the experience of driving a Kia Telluride versus a Hyundai Palisade? Well, let's see. Let's drive it, and I'll tell you then. In terms of driving experience in both in the Palisade and in the Kia Telluride, let's say, it's similar. However, I notice in this X Pro version of the Kia Telluride, it's firmer in the curves, a firmer handling. I also find the suspension calibration a little better when it comes to uneven roads. The Palisade or the purpose of the Palisade. The intention of the Palisade above all is comfort, a slightly smoother ride quality. But really, in terms of visibility, comfort, let's say the driving position and ergonomics, they are very similar. When it comes to the design of the rear part, that's already a matter of personal taste. Between what catches your eye the most visually about the Hyundai Palisade and the Kia Telluride. Here, what we have is a difference between the rear lights. The rear lights of the Kia Telluride, as we can see here, are boomerang-shaped, mostly vertical. In the Hyundai Palisade, they've gone for a slightly more contemporary, a bit more elegant approach. Which tail light do you prefer? Which one convinces you? We have the Telluride in high relief, like the logo, spoiler, brake light, and rear view camera. Those features are also found in the Hyundai Palisade. And here, well, you're going to have your X Pro badge. Towing capacity is practically the same between the Hyundai Palisade and the Kia Telluride. I'm going to show you the interior of the Telluride, and I'll also be showing you the interior of the Palisade, because there are similarities, but I find some differences here in the Telluride. For example, we have dual 12.3-inch curved screens angled toward the driver, wood grain-like details, and dual-zone climate control. All of that is also available in the Palisade version. Here you have wireless charging for your phone. Well, an important fact is that both are offering Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly. The Palisade didn't offer it before, but now the Palisade version does offer it. But in general terms, well, we see finishes. For example, here in leather tones, here with these handles, the X Pro version is designed for rough roads and uneven terrain, so you can handle those conditions. It offers great connectivity with USB, USB-C, regular USB, a 12-volt port, and cup holders. There's an extra compartment for your phone or coins, if you still use coins. And here you have this selector for the different driving modes: comfort mode, sport mode, which does respond a bit, and when driving, the ride quality changes a little. There's also the smart mode for snow, and the fully economic mode, and it has its differential lock. You'll also find these features in its close cousin, the Hyundai Palisade. But both the second row and the third row offer similar dimensions. Even in the 2026 tailgate, however, in the 2026 Hyundai Palisade, the rear seat has seen an increase. Let's say the cabin is now a little longer. That Hyundai Palisade gives you a bit more interior space. We're talking about a few centimeters, which may not be very noticeable, but it's something both of them also offer you, both this one, the tailgate, and the Palisade, their camera-type rear-view mirror. We also have the versatility of the seats in the rows, let's say. In terms of being able to fold down the backrests, both in the third row and the second row, it's practically the same. So in terms of versatility, it doesn't change. And that sunshade we see on the windows, the rear ones. The Palisade version also has a touch of luxury. The roof, as well as the velvet, and also a sunroof. Here, it's standard in the Kia Telluride, regular size. Let's look at the second row. As I said, it hasn't changed much from the Palisade. We have the same versatility. What we do have are these buttons. Look, you have this button here, which is to slide and make it easier to access the third row. But you also have the button here on the backrest, which serves a similar function. And you have the lever here, which is to slide the seat. You can slide the seat so that the passengers in the third row have that extra space. Now we'll enter the third row. See, the third row of seats, this is what I meant. In the Palisade, you feel a bit more space, because there were some changes in the dimensions that allow it to have a bit more room. Here, kids or people who aren't very tall can travel without any problem. Otherwise, you will have some difficulties. This makes it easier to access or exit from the third row of seats. Let's take a look at the cargo area. This part provides the following functionality. With these buttons, you can fold down the second row for space and versatility. You can fold both buttons. This is for the second row. In the Hyundai Palisade, at least the version I tested, the latest one from 2026, it has buttons to fold down both the third row of seats and the second row of seats. They're more focused on luxury. This is the X Pro version. That's why it's important to point out that difference, because some of the features might not be present in one or the other. Here in Telluride, to raise the backrest of the third row that you had down for your cargo, it has these straps that you pull, and you can immediately put them back in place. In terms of fuel economy, this has the traditional cap. That's why I'm showing it to you. The Kia Telluride will give you 22 miles per gallon, and the Hyundai Palisade gives you 21 miles per gallon. We're talking about a minimal difference, right? In kilometers per liter, 11.1 versus 11.2 or 2 kilometers per liter. But not everything can be positive. Well, manufacturers would like everything to be like that. All rosy, but that's not the case, right? There are problems and there are challenges. What are the complaints, both for one and the other? Well, the most common complaints, because everyone complains about a lot of things, about the Hyundai Palisade. In forums, in online research, I've seen that one of the most common complaints is noise in the rear suspension, and also some consistency issues in the infotainment system when it comes to technology. With Telluride, the main complaints are high fuel consumption and some interior fittings rattling on rough roads. But overall, both are above average in customer satisfaction within the three-row midsize SUV segment. Now let's talk about price, another very important factor in the buying decision. Which one is more expensive? Which one costs more, the Kia Telluride or the Hyundai Palisade? The difference is under $1. $1,000. The Kia Telluride is slightly more expensive. It starts at $39,000. The Palisade starts at about $38,000. Now, this is the X Pro version. As I've shown you, with that X Pro trim level, it reaches $54,000. We're already talking about the price going up quite a bit. Meanwhile, a Palisade calligraphy reaches around $53,000. There you have it. Which one would you choose if duller? $1,000 is a relevant factor for you. Let me know as well in terms of price in the comments. If you're buying a Kia Telluride, Hyundai Palisade, or any vehicle, be sure to close your bag. Seal the deal at the dealership without excessive haggling. I have a book called Close Your Mouth at the Dealer, which will guide you to present a good strategy the next time you go to a dealership. Check the description for download instructions. Let's move on. Now for the big surprise, pay attention. I have exclusive images that I just received today. The same day I came to record this comparison between the Kia Telluride and the Hyundai Palisade. That's why I'll rely on the information I just received by email from Kia. The executive team at Kia sent me photographs of what the new 2027 generation of the Kia Telluride will look like, and this could completely change the game. This depends on whether you wait for the 2027 Telluride releasing in 2026 or choose the 2025 or 2026 model. Well, this is the image. There you have it. This is the new Kia Telluride 2027 exclusive images. There you have it. This preview that Kia has decided to send me. And well, from what I see here, they decided to keep its boxy essence, but now it will be 2 or 3 inches longer, 3 more inches of wheelbase, and 1 inch taller than the one you're seeing here. That's important to remember since the Kia Telluride 2027 will be a larger SUV. I'd say it has a more dominant stance and a design that blends luxury and strength, following the opposites united philosophy. Opposites attract. The result, according to what Kia tells me here in this communication, is a Telluride that will be more sophisticated and more capable, still keeping its DNA, but with a touch of refinement. This will officially debut at the upcoming Los Angeles Auto Show. And there, well, I'll surely be there to show it to you live and in person, not just with images. Let me know your thoughts. How does it look in this exclusive information? This preview I'm giving you of the Kia Telluride 2027 is very important. Give me your opinion. So, did you like it or not? Alright, there you have them. Kia Telluride 2026 X Pro versus Hyundai Palisade. I've shown you the images. So which would you choose? Remember what I said. I mean, if I had to say which one I'd go for, or which one I would choose, if I were going to buy one, well, it's kind of complicated, because it really depends on your style. If you want something more robust, an image that's more off-road, not for rough terrain, Kia Telluride might be your ideal SUV. But if you prefer to present a more luxurious, more sophisticated, more refined kind of luxury, the Hyundai Palisade is probably the SUV that suits you best. Which one do you prefer? Luxury, sophistication, technology, something modern, or something more robust, tougher like the Telluride? Let me know in the comments. I'm really interested in hearing your opinion. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. I have another video over here. You'll love my style and presentation. I share both positives, negatives, and key recommendations. Check out accessories too, and remember to use the code on screen for 20% off last fit mats. See you in the next video. Big hug.